All right. So as I thought about, we got obviously ALMSS and scripts. We've been handling just some softball objections. Obviously Wednesday, I'm sure, kind of got your juices flowing and running scenarios through your mind. Social media, there's a lot of chatter about how are we going to navigate around this or through this? It's going to weed out, the committed, the full-time agents versus the part-time agents, or the ones that are always focused on their value proposition versus those that kind of wing it and just show up. And we know this already. We've been talking about this, which is why we every day, every time, I'm always touching on high note and the drip campaigns and the follow-up, because those are the things that will separate us from our competition. That's the value proposition. You already have it. The next step is going to be to articulate this on the fly with your clients, regardless whether it's flex or your own sphere of influence or your referrals. That's going to be the challenging part of why they should work with you versus, hey, I just want to see this one house, and them trying to not manipulate, that's not the right word, but control the narrative of getting what they want without having to commit to you. So, a lot of those objections are just on the open houses, as Monica was going over, some of the protocol of what we can and what we can't do. I think we learned just in that short window, and we're learning every day as this becomes, as this surfaces and the more conversation you guys have, this is the opportunity for us to sharpen our skill set, to share what are the consumers saying? Do they even know about what's happening? I think there's going to be a mixed bag, and either way, we will be prepared to address any and all of the above. So as they come through the open house, and they start, asking their questions, we still do what we've always done. It's the moment that they start to get specific with us is, I think, the permission to allow us to offer a 15, a 20-minute or on the fly kitchen counter needs analysis. Tell me more. What exactly are you thinking? Like, go right into LP Mama. And because you're going to need to qualify them to see if this is somebody that you even want to work with or spend the energy on. And, the ones that are really closed off and it's really hard to get a sense whether we've got our foot in the door or not, don't give up. Use those as the opportunity to say the things that are very difficult to roll off your tongue. And you all know what I'm talking about, because when you read the script, we automatically go, I don't know if I could really say that. I don't see myself saying that. That's really not my style. But trust me, when you just have nothing to lose and everything to gain on those difficult asshole clients, try it. And it's crazy to see the response or their answer to the question. And once you start to see that these things that we talk about, and you're just throwing the Hail Mary to see if they're going to catch it, and they do, and you all of a sudden you're back in control of the conversation, it truly becomes addicting. I mean, this is where we really could start LP momming them and really qualify them. The needs analysis on the fly really could be knocked out in 5 to 10 minutes by asking these 7 to 8 questions of LP Mama. And the moment that they throw their defense mechanism, the moment they start not answering you, The moment that you can tell the energy is off and they're really not into it, it's that we haven't painted enough of the outcome or whatever it is they're looking for to get them to ask us more questions. And every time that they start asking more questions, and we get to go ahead and answer it and then bounce the question back to them. The moment, I'm trying to think of an example to really hammer this home, but the moment that they start to go cold on me again, it's almost like, well, when you're ready or when you think the time is right, I'd love to sit down. Like I'm basically doing a takeaway. Like I gave you 5 minutes of my time. I've invested some to try to get to know you. You don't want to reciprocate, and I'm okay with that. I get it. There's something that I haven't done to fancy you or to marry me to you where you would start engaging. Or you know what? Maybe they're just not ready and this conversation is over their head, which means they're like not even at the starting line, which is okay. And self-discovery, we realize that to then just say, okay, well, look, when the time is right, I'd love to pick up where we left off. Maybe in the meantime, if you like, a lot of clients that I work with want to stay in tune with the market conditions and interest rates. And I've got a newsletter that I send out on a weekly basis. And if you'd like to be a part of that, or you'd like me to include you, I just need to know, your name and email. And it's a soft close. It's a soft trial close, but I'm still asking for it. I'm asking for this. In return, I will give you that. It's not, hey, I want to send you listings in the multiple listing and everything that comes on the market that's new. I want to set, that's what everyone does. That doesn't separate us from the pack. They get that through Redfin. Redfin, I personally have searches set up in Redfin of areas that I like to follow that notifies me of new listings. I use Redfin, but it's only because it's accessible and I do this shit at 10 p.m. on my sofa. Now with Real Scout though, it's going to be a lot cleaner. But my point is it's accessible and it's easy. That's what your clients are using. That's what they're doing also. So we got to figure out how do we get our foot in the door to create the value to get their contact information. So then we can get them in our system and then we can start dripping on them. And then what will happen is over time, you are taking mind share. You are top of mind when they want to go and see something or when they get serious about the process. There's a high probability they will contact you. They will respond to one of your emails, videos, or property notifications. Scott, is this one still available? Scott, do you think we could go and see this Saturday? I have no idea who they are. I just get the text alerts and then I look them up and then there's all of the notes that I've been putting down where I met them, what it was they were looking for, if I know, whatever pertinent information you need to keep yourself accountable, because then you can pick up the conversation exactly where you left off. And it's just like Zillow. It goes back through the system where, when would you like to see it? I don't even get into, oh shit, it's been 6 months. How have you been? It's just, when would you like to see it? I'll build the rapport later. Let's just give them what they want, meet them where they're at, create some value, and then we smack them over the head with LP Mama when we get face to face. What brought you to this location? Is this the only area you're looking in? This is priced at $900,000. Would you, just curious, would you be paying all cash or do you need to obtain a loan? Remind me again, why are you looking to begin with? Are you currently leasing? Did you need to sell in order to buy? Tell me more. And that, so we're going right through LP Mama. And when you can just deliver it, it's amazing to hear them just get right in line and start answering these questions. Boom, 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 boom. And all you're doing is you're putting the pen to your red book and you're just writing notes down. Well, if I were to find some opportunities that kind of match this criteria, would you be open to taking a look? Terrific. Were you thinking are weeknights or Saturday weekends better for you? Were you the only one purchasing this or was this going to be with the family? See, all these questions keep going. You know why? Because I'm thinking, how do I need to address my follow-up email? Is it Mr. and Mrs.? Is it Mr. and Mr.? What, whatever it is, I need to know these things. So I'm already one step ahead thinking, when we get together, it's the relationship. This is building rapport. This is getting to know the client on a deeper level. If they know you care, they will be more inclined to go down this journey with you. If they sense that you're after the commission, which before they meet us, that's the connotation of our industry. We're after the commission. That's the first thing. And once you become personable, relatable, come from curiosity, the shield starts to go down, which then you can go for the trial close and ask permission. Remember, it's permission-based selling. That's what works for me. Some of you are way more direct, which is great. And if it works for you, stay the course. Again, I'm sharing what works for me. This is not the ends by all means, the only way. I just believe that this is how consumers, the generations, how people react. For me, they just react better. All right. So again, the point in all of this is as the contracts and the requirements to get a buyer broker agreement signed, we're going to start navigating around and explaining this to them. One quick way to create value is Lorian. Hey, it's a pleasure to meet you. How long you been looking for? Oh, terrific. Has anyone brought up, or are you aware of the new California, so actually National Association of Realtor requirements for someone like yourself that you need to commit to an agent or a professional like myself in order to go and see these homes? Have you experienced going to open houses, how they have you experienced that agents are going, if you're in the market to buy, the only way you can see homes is by working with someone like me and giving you paperwork and asking you to sign it when really you're not sure exactly what it means? Yeah, I've heard, or yeah, I've read, or someone told me about that, or no, I have no idea. That's the green light to then give your elevator pitch on what is going to change. And in your story, you're creating enough pain to point you or point to have them recognize you as the solution to this challenge that they may or may not know yet. And that would be the hook to get them to commit or at least get another appointment with you. But you have to try, because in 2 weeks, it's a requirement.
Can we role play how that would sound?
Yeah, I'll do my best, because I was thinking about where is this script at? And I think maybe as we role play this out, we will have the recordings and we can get them, transcribed, and we can start chopping it up and taking little snippets and create our own objection handler. I know Rachel shared, I know she was on a Flex live class, and it sounds like it was with Tom Ferry or pre-recorded or one of his advocates. And she shared, if you noticed in the Flex channel, a couple of those objection handlers. Rachel, was that, if I could put you on the spot, and I don't know if you're in a position to talk, but is that what that course was about, the changes that are coming up? All right. She might be busy. So,
Sorry. It was about just everything, and he was talking about his upcoming event in Dallas, and they just briefly mentioned a little bit about Flex and 3 common objections. So I wanted to share it just because we have a little Flex channel.
yep. Awesome. So I would, go back into the Flex channel and see what class it was that Rachel posted on, and I would sign up. If you're on the, does everyone have access to that? Yeah, that should be, was that in Zillow Academy, Rachel?
Um, no, it wasn't anything like that. It was just like one of Tom Ferry's coaches was sharing three common
Hmm,
objections, and then it was in the Circle Slack Zillow Flex channel
got it.
that I
Okay.
posted it.
So you guys can go back and was it recorded and anyone can go and watch it?
Um, I
Okay.
don't think
Okay.
so.
Very cool. And those that are in the Flex, there was another link that I posted 2 days ago that was a live. The coach Andrew gave it to me last minute, so I don't know. Some of you don't have it unlocked yet to watch that stuff. But there in the Flex channel, there are script practices live with people, Flex agents, which is open to all of you, whether you're in Flex or not, to register through Zillow Academy to participate with other agents across the nation. And what I would encourage you to do is not only register and listen and sit in on those classes, I would look forward, I would encourage you to start chatting and posting just like the chat group here and say, hey, I'm in Long Beach, California. If any of you would like to role play or script practice on what we're sharing today, you raise your hand or here's my contact information, ping me, let me know. And then you can get and build relationships across the nation and see how they do things and then apply what we do. And then you'll expedite the process. So Natalie, what scenario do you want to run through? Do you want to run through open house or
Yeah, the open house, because that really got me thinking yesterday.
have you had anyone give you objections or anyone throw curveballs at you that maybe were new to the changes?
No, no one's ever mentioned anything. So this would be first time role playing it.
Okay, so my thought, I'm not going to just come out and just, put the full court pressure on the changes. I'm just going to organically kind of go through the process where I'm going to try to just create a little bit of pain for you or uncertainty to then
Okay.
ideally marry you back to me to see if you are comfortable now to at least give me your information. Okay, so I'm going to kind of wing it and roll with me on this. So hey, Nat, thank you for coming to 123 Main Street. My name is Scott Cotto with Circle Real Estate. This is a 4-bed, 2-bath. It's sitting on it's a 2,400 square foot home, sitting on an 8,000 square foot lot. And the list price is $1,200,000. Again, my name is Scott. Take a look and let me know if you have any questions.
Okay, thank you. The house looks great. We really like it.
What specifically do you really like about the house?
The size of the home, all the rooms seem very spacious. And all the other ones that we toured, all of them, they looked big on the pictures, but then they were really cramped in person.
Oh, very cool. When you say we, just curious, who is that? Family
Uh,
or?
yeah, it was me and my husband.
Oh, very, not very. And do you and your husband, do you guys have kids?
No kids. We have a
Okay.
dog, so that's a kid.
Oh, yep. Got the big yard. It's 8,000 square foot lot.
Yeah,
Just curious, how long have you guys been looking for?
for about 2 years now.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I got to
Well,
imagine. Yeah.
when we first were looking, we weren't serious, and then we just started to get serious.
And what event happened that kind of made things get real or serious right now?
Just tired of renting. I know my mom, she owns her own house, so just seeing how the value went up for her, that was just really eye-opening.
Yeah, I would say in the last 2 years, and don't quote me on this, I'm just guessing. In Southern California, I'd probably say you've seen probably about a 17 to 18% appreciation.
Yeah. So I know I have family members that are renting and paying almost the same thing that she pays a mortgage, but then at the same time, she's gaining money throughout the year. So I really like that part.
Yeah. So for me, guys, this is just now timeout. I would pull out my phone and I would say, well, Natalie, so on a home like this at $1.2 million, if you had purchased this 2 years ago and based on hypothetically a 17% appreciation, I'd pull up my calculator, I'd do the math really quick, and I would say you would be looking at about $150,000 in equity that you would have earned if you had purchased this house 2 years ago. Isn't that crazy?
Amazing.
I mean, seriously, when are you or I going to get a raise? I don't know what you do for a living, but 150,000 in 2 years is outrageous. And that's why we love Southern California.
Yes.
So really the whole point of this is trying to get her to think ahead. Like she's already missed the boat of 150,000. It's a setup. I'm just want to really hammer home because she says she wants to build equity. So I want to start to create the pain of what she's already lost by waiting. Because now that she's serious, I'm going to really tell her and encourage her and use this specific conversation and example as a pain point for every time she decides, I think we just want to wait. I'm going to say, Natalie, what happened when you started the process 2 years ago? How much money did we agree? Or when we did the math, did you leave on the table?
150,000.
Yeah. Okay. So again, I just want to sidebar that. All right. Well, terrific. So in 2 years, just curious, did you and your husband make any offers on anything?
No, not yet.
Oh, okay. Got it. So it really,
If we were, how do you go about that?
yeah, well, that's a great question. I mean, in short, I'm sure you've heard from agents, or as you do some research online, everyone is going to tell you to get pre-approved. So that way you can make sure that you're qualified for this home or the home that you're interested in. That is true. But when you're ready, that way you can figure out what your buying power looks like. More importantly, I want to make sure that you're comfortable with the mortgage amount, because a lot of clients, they could qualify for $1 million, but they're not too excited about a $65,000 or $7,000 mortgage amount. So just curious, are you currently renting? I think you mentioned you're renting.
Renting, but we're already pre-qualified.
Oh, okay. Very cool. And just curious, what are you paying in rent?
Right now it's about 4,000.
Wow. So that's a good amount. And then what were you qualified for?
1.3.
1.3. And just curious,
Yeah.
how much do you recall what your mortgage payment was going to be?
I believe he said it was around 8,000.
See, I'm getting very specific because she's giving me great answers, but I'm almost telling her to proof up. She's giving me answers that I like to hear, but I want to go one layer deeper to really qualify. So right now she knows exactly how much her mortgage payment is. She is highly motivated. This is fresh off the press. So again, I'm trying to figure out where she is in the experience, in the process, so I know where to insert my services to kind of pick up. So she's highly motivated. I'm very excited. I'm going to really stay with Natalie on this. So, oh, that's terrific. So, and are you comfortable with that mortgage amount?
Yeah, I'm pretty comfortable.
Well, hearing that you're qualified at 1.3, this one is at 1.2. How does this fit what you're specifically? I know you like the bedrooms. I know you like the square footage. I know you like the space, the large yard for the dog. Is there anything else, or is there anything that this doesn't have that you wish it had?
Honestly, no. Compared to the ones that, I mean, we just did open houses, but compared to the other ones that we looked at, this
Yeah.
one is great by a long shot.
That's amazing. Well, what is it? Obviously your husband needs to see the home. Would you like to set up a time this weekend, where we can go ahead and have a private tour and not an open house like 20 other people?
Yeah, that should work.
Okay. Do you know enough then I'm pulling out my phone. I'm kind of just going with emotions, and I'm asking, would tomorrow morning, at 10 a.m., I think they're having an open house between 1 to 4, but it would be better if we could see this in private versus with all of the other people running around through the house. Would 10 a.m. work for you and your husband?
That'll work. Yes.
Okay. All right. Terrific. And then what's the best number to reach you at?
310-634-2808.
Okay. And the best email for you?
Natalie@natalieraina.com.
Okay, so I'm not really gonna bring up the NAR because everything was rolling the way I wanted it to. I feel that there is enough rapport built and we set the appointment to where I don't have to throw that hook out there to create a little bit of uncertainty to marry her back to me. The process, the LP mama just flowed and went right into my sweet spot where I was able to set the appointment. So
Are you having them fill out the list that Monica showed yesterday when they first go into the open house?
no, because I set the appointment with you, I'll probably bring it with, oh, you mean the open house sign-in sheet?
Yes.
You know, I'm gonna say yes, but because I truly, and that this is me speaking to myself and to everyone, well, clearly, but why we gotta know what it exactly it is. I don't know enough details. I heard Monica share it, but I don't know the pros and cons of it yet. So I'm not prepared to handle the objections. But if it's a sign-in sheet, yeah, I'll incorporate it.
Okay.
But I need to get deeper on it.
Now, what if the husband was there? How would you do that? And then what if
If
the
that,
husband's
well,
asking you?
okay, so that's a great question. So all of us on this call, you gotta give them both love. You cannot gravitate towards one person. So you got to be bouncing back and reading the room and checking out who is being receptive, who's asking the questions, who's giving me the cold shoulder, because generally one of the two of them is. So make sure that you're addressing them both and looking for them when he or she says something. I'm looking at the other to confirm or to not, or to just sit there and be stone faced.
And what
So
if they both like the place and then the husband's asking you, do you know if there's any offers? What are they looking for? Things like that.
okay, and what do you want me to set it up? Like, I'm gonna assume in your scenario where you're probably just holding an open house for the listing agent that is, you're not a part of?
Yeah, because I remember I'm just going based off of what was said yesterday when Monica was saying if they ask questions like that, you would try to guide them differently because you can't necessarily answer those questions unless they start signing the stuff. I'm not sure. So I
Okay,
just want to how would you go about that?
so because we're in rapport and we're in sync, I'm not gonna throw out what they need to do yet.
Okay.
It's gonna throw off the whole energy in the room, and that's gonna come out as like a hard close. So
Okay.
I'm just rolling with the punches until the first objection or until they decide to tell me to pump the brakes. Then I'll start to slowly, kind of create a little bit of uncertainty.
Okay.
So if the husband is there, then I'm going to say, well, gosh, it sounds like, this it kind of makes sense for you guys. I do know this is the first weekend on open house. I'm going to imagine that the sellers are going to wait until probably Tuesday or Wednesday to review offers, assuming they get multiple in. What I'd like to do is go ahead and just get your contact information. I'm going to go ahead and pull some comparable sales in the neighborhood so I can help you identify what if 1.2 is a reasonable list ask price for the sellers, but I'll show you some sales in the area. And I think if it makes sense, maybe we put this in writing and go over it together.
Okay. Yeah, if we can see what those comparables are, that'd be great.
Okay. And so really okay, let's just role play this out. Okay, terrific. So I've got your contact information. I'll reach out to the sellers shortly after here. I'll get more information about when they're going to review the offer, so I know what our timeline needs to look like in the next 72 hours. In the meantime, I'm going to go ahead and put those comparable properties together. Just looking and assuming everything looks okay, did you have time this weekend to go ahead and carve out maybe an hour where we can have a more in-depth conversation and put something together if it makes sense?
Yeah, that should work.
Okay. And were you thinking Saturday afternoon, or would Sunday morning be better for you?
Sunday morning would be better.
Okay, should we say like 10 o'clock?
Yes.
Okay, terrific. I'll send you a calendar invite and then I'll get working on this information. Did you have any other questions for me now?
No, that should be it.
Okay. Oh, one last thing, just curious. I know you're renting. Are you on a month to month?
It's a lease. So the lease is up in December, by the
Oh,
end of the year.
and do you like this home enough to possibly make an offer on it to break that lease?
Yeah, so the lease, he's a family friend. We've known him for a while and he knows that we were trying to move. So he said if we ever, found a place that it'd be fine if we left a little bit sooner than we were supposed to.
Very cool. Okay, terrific, terrific. All right, well, I'm glad you popped in, Natalie. I look forward to helping, and Natalie and Bob, I look forward to helping you both. And, you've got my contact information, so I'll be in touch later this afternoon.
Thank you.
Okay.
Okay, sidebar. If the conversation went really good like that, and let's say Sunday morning we're having the whole conversation, are you making them sign the buyer broker agreement?
Yes,
Okay, and then how are you presenting the buyer broker agreement?
it's going to be whether we're in person or we're in Zoom together. I'm going
Uh-huh.
over with the residential purchase agreement and the buyer broker agreement,
Okay,
all of it all together. Because again, this would be the perfect storm. Everything is falling right into place. So I'm not going to just start having a sidebar conversation on the buyer broker agreement aside from doing an offer. I'm going to do it all together. I'm not even going to bring it up because remember what we all agreed on the meeting was they don't know any different. No one's explained it to them. So when you go over the residential purchase agreement, what is page 1 on the RPA? What does it include? It includes the dual agency representation form, right?
mm-hmm.
I don't know how you guys present that, but when that's the first page, here, this is the agency relationship document. This is basically states that you are hiring Circle Real Estate as your representative, and these are our fiduciary responsibilities to you. Okay. That's it. That's all I say. And then I flip the page to page 2, and then I go the next one, and then it's, I can't recall what the next one is, but I'm just going right through it. So
Can we,
yep.
sorry, I just have so many questions around this.
That's good.
Can we do it one more time, but role play a different way as if, they went to a different open house and somebody had them sign something, the buyer broker agreement right then and there, but then they turned around.
Yeah, sure. So Natalie, it sounds like, this home matches a lot of the criteria of what you and Bob are looking for. Would it make sense for us to go ahead and schedule a time? Well, first off, what I'd like to do is find the comparable properties and show you where I see the value at. Again, I think a lot's going to be dependent on how many offers or if any that the sellers might have. And then if everything makes sense after that, perhaps we could put something in writing to see how it looks on paper. Does that sound something you want?
That's fine, but quick question. So we had went to another open house and there was a lady there, another agent, but she wanted us to sign a document that was binding us together. Are we gonna have to do that with you too?
Great question. Just curious, did you end up signing anything with her?
We didn't know because we didn't know anything about it. We didn't
Yeah.
want to be binded.
Yep. Good point. So I think what she's doing, that document that she asked you to sign, that's always been available to professionals like ourselves to ask a buyer like you to agree to work with us. So just like this listing here that I'm sitting in, I had to meet with the sellers and they had to sign an agreement to allow me to represent them to sell this house. So the National Association of Realtors, there's a new law that's taking place. It's in effect now and will be required moving forward starting August 17th for buyers like yourself to identify and agree to work with a professional like myself for me to help you find your next investment. And that's, I think, what she was asking you to sign.
Okay. Hypothetically, if we didn't sign it, could we still use an agent or do we have to sign it?
Yeah, well, because you didn't sign with her, you are open to sign with any agent. So if this is a house that you guys are both interested in, obviously I would love the opportunity to represent the two of you. And in doing so, yes, I would need to have you sign a buyer broker agreement. Now,
Oh.
now here's the thing though, Natalie, it can be just for this one house.
Oh,
But I mean, clearly though, as long as that you're happy with my services, I hope that I'm able to negotiate this for you. But for some reason, if I'm not, I would love to continue this and I would like to work and help you find another opportunity. But for now, let's focus on this one.
can we have our meeting first and then decide if we sign it, or do we have to sign it and then have the meeting?
Oh no, we could have the meeting first. I wouldn't want you to sign something you're not comfortable signing.
Okay, that makes me feel a lot better.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's part of where we would meet on Sunday at 10 a.m. if everything made sense, where we could have one more final Q&A, or you can ask me any questions that surface in the next 48 hours. And then
Okay.
again, and then here's again, you guys see I'm always asking. And then if everything makes sense after we answer those questions, if you're comfortable, we can go ahead and prepare the offer.
Okay, that works.
I'm always setting the expectation of the end goal, the result. I'm always saying if and after we have these conversations and answer all of your questions and I've explained the process, if you're comfortable moving forward, we can then go ahead and put the pen to paper and put our offer together.
Yeah, that works.
Okay. Did they open house? Did they say any of that?
No, I'm just thinking of what could possibly happen. I haven't had any of these scenarios where they brought up any of that. So I'm just thinking of anything that could happen.
Yeah, you probably won't for a while. So the point of this call, I would say, is don't feel the need to pull all of this out of your back pocket and just throw up on them with all this information. They have no idea, they don't know, and it's going to come from right field.
Okay, sounds good. Thank you.
Focus on building rapport and by asking questions and getting them to open up.
Okay, thank you.
All right. Just keep digging and go a layer deeper.
Can we touch base a little bit on how you would say, this is my fee, 3%, but in some cases we can negotiate for the seller to either pay all of that or some of that?
My style for now, and this probably will change as I see more listings on the MLS. Obviously it's not going to show what the compensation is, but it's just a matter of time before there's a website or some code word or something that is basically going to specify. I think legally the sellers or the agents can put in there, seller will work with concessions. I think that concessions is basically the green light that they're offering a compensation. So now with that whole long-winded explanation, for me, Rachel, I'm probably going to just say, Rachel, let's just say you had inquired or you wanted to know more about this buyer broker agreement and what does that mean? And I'm going to say, Rachel, here's what I'm doing with a lot of my clients. For now, most of my clients don't have an extra $25,000 or $20,000 to pay me for my services. And until I see a good amount of sellers not cooperating to compensate me to help you purchase your house, what I'm letting them know is let's just focus on the houses where the sellers are cooperating with the selling brokerage like myself. That way you don't have to come out of pocket anything. And if you're okay with that, then we can start with that first. If you see a home that you like and the sellers are not offering compensation to me, well, then we'll have to cross that bridge when we get there. Either, you'll be willing to compensate me, or maybe you're going to give me permission to negotiate my fees in your offered price, if the sellers are willing to play that way. How does that sound? And I know your eyes are rolling in the back of your head, and a lot of that was probably over your head. So I'm expecting questions back.
I think that's good. Didn't Monica also mention that we have to have them provide proof of funds to be able to compensate us just in case?
Yes, she did. And for the first route, though, for me, my first pass is trying to create value. That way, when I need to either ask them for the compensation, or if they're even willing to, that they'll be inclined to agree and sign that. But for now, for me, it's a two-step dance. The first one is, let me just show you what is available out there that the sellers are cooperating with, so you don't have to come out of pocket. So the answer to your question on that is, I'm not going to go ahead and say that up front until it's needed.
Okay. Thank you.
Any other questions? All right.
About that proof of funds, it's proof of funds that shows they can cover the EMD plus your commission, or is it proof of funds that they can do the down payment plus commission?
Yeah, it's going to be all of the above.
So down payment, EMD, and commissions. Okay.
And I'll be honest, you guys aren't going to get that information until they're probably ready to write, or like they are married to you. No stranger is going to, okay, and scan, download, go to their bank, log in, give a mortgage, give a savings statement, get their 401k, their Roth IRA from Charles Schwab, and download it. That is very pertinent private information.
But Scott, on the BRBC, it says they have to do that within 5 days, and then if you can change it to a different amount of time, but it says that. So how do we handle that?
Well, again, when I'm writing an offer, I have what they want. They found what they want. They will be more inclined to do what's required. I'm saying that if you try to go the full court press at an open house or a Zillow lead or something, without them even identifying a property that they like, and you try to have this conversation and asking them to proof up, you're going to lose them. The hook is, you can cast a net to a vision of what is coming down the pipeline. Again, though, my thing is, Lorian, let's just go look at homes that the sellers are offering compensation to me. I mean, look, if you want to see everything under the sun and you're comfortable coming out of pocket and paying me $20,000, I'm happy. I'm for it. And in doing so, I would need you to sign this agreement. You'd have to send me your proof of funds for your down payment on your next home. And then proof of funds would need to be enough to compensate me my, whatever, 2.5% based on the purchase price of the home. What are your thoughts? That's a question to any of you guys. What are your thoughts when I say it like that?
Scott, how do you tell them in a nice way to, like, when you're redirecting them to their to their agent. Like, as far as we can't give them any information to pull them, right? Like if
Well,
they
give me
ask.
give me more context. Are you saying that an open house lead comes through your open house, you're the listing agent, they already disclose that they're working with an agent?
Yeah.
It's no different. Those
Okay.
are all great questions. If I want to subtly throw their agent under the bus, I'll say, those are all great questions. Where's your agent? And I say shit like that. Like, what are you doing? Why are you out here looking on your own without your agent? You must not be too excited about them, or you really don't have one. That's what I'm basically saying. But yeah, nothing changes. That's, those are great questions, Valerie. You got to go and ask your agent. Matter of fact, where are they today? Just curious, Valerie, did you sign a buyer broker agreement with this agent? Like, so that would be my segue going right in to figure out if she married to this person or not. Again, these people are going to throw objections at you, and we have to be scripted enough and witty enough to go ahead and open that door and really test them. Because you are taking 5 hours out of your Saturday afternoon while everyone's at the beach drinking Mai Tais, and we're sweating our asses off sitting in an open house where only 4 people came through. And one of them said they just had an agent. And then when you ask me these questions, Valerie, I'm going to say, well, those are all amazing questions. You really need to lean on your agent. Where are they today? Did your agent have you, now I'm creating a little bit of pain. Did your agent have you sign a buyer broker agreement? No, they're a family friend and da, da, da. And I'm going to say, oh, let me guess, they do this part-time on the side, and that's probably why they're not here. It's really difficult with part-time agents because typically in my experience, I found that they're not even part of the National Association of Realtors, California Association of Realtors. They don't have access to the MLS, and they can't schedule or open doors for you to go see them. So I'm going to guess maybe they're just sending you to open houses. Again, I'm just chumming the water. I'm saying what I think that the position that they're in, and if I hit it and they are resonating with me, like they're going, dude, okay. He's right on point. Really though, for these conversations to be effective, just as my coach would say to me, we got to have a cameras on, because I can't tell. I feel like I'm just talking to myself. I can't see body language. I don't know if you guys are multitasking, but it's just hard for me to sit here and kind of, I don't have anything to work with.
This is really helpful, Scott. Thank you.
Agreed. This
Well,
is
that's
really
good. So that's the whole point. Yep. Good.
Sorry, Scott, I turned off my camera because I'm backing up my phone.
All good. All good.
Needed the port.
So
Hey,
any
Scott.
other questions or thought? Yeah, Andrew.
Yeah. So what if after the whole spiel, and they're like, okay, like we understand, but we don't want to sign it with you. Do you just end the conversation then?
Well, see, if I wanted to go one layer deeper and say, like, there's got to be more context to the story, meaning if we take Natalie's situation and they really like the house, and we had an appointment set on Sunday, they're not working with an agent, and then they say, well, we just don't want to sell. In that scenario, I would say something like, well, that's typically because you have a question on your mind, or there's something that I haven't explained thoroughly. Which one is it for you? People don't make decisions because it's a lack of information, but she's motivated though. I already know that because I qualified her. She said she's running out of space. She's been looking for 2 years. She can break the lease whenever she wants. So again, I'm going to keep diving in there to get her to warm up to me. but I need her to be vulnerable and transparent with me. And if she's not, then I haven't connected with her yet, which means I need to go back and ask more questions. So when she says she's not ready and I've invested some time and I feel like I can really service and help Natalie, I will ask, Natalie, I kind of understand that. And typically when people don't want to take that next step moving forward, there's either something that's on your mind or something that we've discussed that you're not comfortable with yet. Could it be one of those two for you? And if she still holds firm and she doesn't want to, and and I'm going to say, okay, well, I'm sorry to hear that, but let's do this. We'll keep in touch. I'll give you any updates on this house. If it goes into escrow or if they get offers, I'll check in with you and see if it's something you want to move forward with. I will say though, Natalie, here's the hook. Here's the pain point. I will say though, Natalie, whether it's this house or another house that you haven't seen yet, this conversation, you will need to find someone that you're comfortable with and sign a buyer broker agreement to have them represent you and Bob in the purchase of your next home. I mean, that's why I hope I would like to work with you based on what I know. I know I can help you cross that finish line. I know we can cross that finish line together. So when you're ready, let me know. But what I'm fearful of is you're going to go into an open house and someone's going to have a slick tongue and they're going to get you to sign. And then you're going to be married to them for the next 90 days. And if you don't like them, they're not going to let you out. See, that's pain. That's scaring her. And you know what? That is the true fact. Like the guy I work out with in the gym, Ray Durant, many of you know him. An open house lead walked in and wanted to buy his listing. And he represented it and wrote it up. And you know what happened? 24 hours later, the agent sent Ray a phone call and an email saying, that's my client. She signed a year-long buyer broker agreement. I'll be taking over from here. The client hated him. Ray didn't know that. Ray said, oh, did you sign something? She's like, I don't know. He didn't tell me none of this. As it turns out, she wrote an offer with this agent on another home and slid that buyer broker agreement in there and didn't explain it because he just docu-signed it off to her and she just clicked, sign, initial, sign. And one of those signatures was a buyer broker agreement that said, I am representing you. Remember, they changed it because again, the forms are very specific now, but prior to this, it was Southern California for a 12-month period. As we all discovered, you can only sign something for no longer than 90 days. And it needs to be specific to a zip code or city or county or a specific address. She signed a year-long agreement for anywhere in Southern California. As much as she hated that agent, now she really hates him. And he's still getting paid. So you have to leverage these stories when the time is right. Obviously, again, you have to read the room because that's a lot of information. And until you get to the part where it makes sense to unpackage this storytelling, it's not going to resonate. But that specific scenario makes sense now, Andrew, when they say, I don't want to sign it.
Got it. Thank you.
That's going to be an important hook for all of us to really get down to. As Lori, and I totally understand, it's usually something that's on your mind, or you have a burning question that you're afraid to ask me, or maybe we've already gone over it and I haven't explained it a way to you that might make sense. Could it be any of those? Like, let them know. You guys know what they're thinking. There's some blockage, there's confusion. They're not reciprocating. When you guys were in the sweet spot all the way up until this point, she just clammed up. Something went wrong. Or something is not wrong, something, a question is brewing. And then if she doesn't open up still, I'm going to say, well, Lorian, just be mindful when you do find the right house, the agent is going to ask you to partner together by signing this agreement. So whether it's with me or someone else, you're You're going to be required to, and that's why I'm really hoping that I can earn your business. And I've demonstrated in this conversation that you see the value that I can bring to you. You know, again, these are going to be listing, no different than going to the listing table for listings. What is it that sellers want? Top dollar, shortest amount of time with the least amount of inconvenience. And that's what my listing presentation is all geared around. So same concept. We're going to have to figure this out and hammer home our big rocks of what is the value proposition of what we bring to the table on why buyers need to work with us. And if you're new, it's okay. You have to leverage the success of everyone on this call, your peers in the industry, on It's Circle Real Estate, the brokerage. You know, when I didn't have any sales, I leveraged the office. You know, I'm excited. I'm partnered with the #1 brokerage in the greater Long Beach area. How long have you been in business? Well, it's been less than 2 years, but feels like forever. I just got my license last month. That's my answer. Less than 2 years, but it seems like forever. And then you got to bounce the ball right back to them. Remind me again, what brought you into my open house? You know, you got to just take control back. Otherwise, they're going to start picking you apart. Oh, how many transactions have you done? Have you sold any houses in Los Altos? You know, once they start doing that, see how the questions, we've all been there, and that shield goes up and now we feel we're on the defense. It's flip it around. That's exactly what we're trying to do to make them feel that they need us, and they do, but you also got to believe it. All right. Any closing thoughts? It's 9:30. I know people got things to do. All right. So, you know, as you do open houses, or, you know, I'll be curious to see, I'll be asking, I hope you guys will just come forward with, oh, I did open house and here's what they said. I think what we're going to find is no one's really going to, they don't know. They don't know. So find your groove and build rapport and your opportunity to unlock and to present this when the time is right. Don't just come out of, you know, the gates and freak everyone out because they don't know. And it's going to be like over their head anyways. Focus on getting to know them and figuring out a needs analysis. What is it that they're looking to do to see if we are the solution to bridging that gap? You got to figure out the challenge and the problem. And then we story tell to create a little bit of pain to then have it all signs point back to us. We are the solution. So you got to use these stories to give examples about what could or will happen if they don't use you. All right. Happy Friday. The only way we get to apply this stuff is by taking massive action, though. We could talk about theory all day long, but until you get someone to practice this on, it kind of goes in one ear and out the other. So, you know, get in the line of fire, be vulnerable, get all of it, start flushing all this stuff out. Because
I did it
then,
yesterday twice, Scott.
what happened?
I did it yesterday twice. I made videos explaining the BRBC to 2 people and sent them via like a YouTube link. And they said,
Wow.
this is super helpful and very thorough. Thank you so much. And I got one of the BRBs signed and the other one's going to be this week.
And where did they come from?
So the one was having the guy that I'm selling his place. He just signed the RLA. He's going to buy a place.
Okay.
And the other one was one that I had gotten from a door knock a long time ago.
And the one that signed it, I'm going to assume, is probably the seller.
The seller, yeah, he signed it really quickly. And the other one said, we're going to read it this week.
Okay. See, so just exactly this, you know, so you're in rapport, you're in alignment with this gentleman. He's already agreed to list with you. That's going to be an easy, you know, here's, by the way, we need to get this executed, A door knock, someone that maybe you met a year or 5 months ago, or even last week. I appreciate it. This is amazing. This is awesome. Let me just read it over. And that's how the conversation will start.
Yeah. it was good practice to explain it, you know, like to record myself explaining the contract.
If you can explain it and have someone understand it, you clearly get it yourself. That's
Mhm.
the saying, if you can't explain a situation to a 5-year-old to understand it, you may not understand it clearly yourself. That, that's again, the whole videos of shooting for buyers and sellers, remember, they're demonstrating what it looks like to work with us before they hire us. That's all intentional for us to figure out, what does it look like to work with me? I don't know. But when you put the pen to paper and you write out your script, copy my script, or write it out and record it, you're like, oh, it's almost like you sold a house. Because you went through 13 different checkpoints on your own without even selling a house yet. And now you have a great understanding. So good job. All right. Curious to hear the feedback next week. Have an amazing weekend. Stay cool out there.
Bye,
Thanks,
Scott. Thank
Scott.
you.
Okay, thank you all.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.